Hi, everyone. My name is Neil Daniel, and I am the program manager for the designery at Youth Build Boston. And I've been working as the program manager for about a year and a half now. It's been an interesting journey leading up to Youth Build. And I really see that beginning starting in high school when I had the opportunity to be a youth mentor for Family and Children's Service of Greater Lynn, which is now called Life Scene. But I would do after school youth mentorship, helping them with homework, helping them with any life skills. And then during the summer, we would engage them with different science and STEM activities, going on field trips. And at that point, I already knew that I wanted to do architecture. And I think I started off as a lot of students where I wanted to become like a star architect. I wanted to see names on projects, on drawings. But I think my work as a youth mentor allowed me to see architecture from a different lens, not as one that I don't know, but one that doesn't buy into a lot of this like luxury housing, luxury offices agenda, but really seeing how architecture can impact communities and how architecture can be more approachable as a field and as a way of thinking for a lot of youth that look like me. Throughout college, I started to really explore that with my designs, both in undergrad and grad school. And I did my grad thesis actually as a 50-year master plan to rethink our neighborhoods in Boston, taking a historically white neighborhood, a historically Black and brown neighborhood, and contextualizing the history of redlining and prejudice through like infrastructure, development, and real estate industry policy. And created this master plan to reconnect areas. And I really found a lot of joy and a lot of passion in doing the research, doing the work. And I knew that I wanted to carry that on as I continued in my professional career after I graduated. So I graduated in 2019 with my master's in architecture at Wentworth Institute of Technology. And then I pursued healthcare architecture for about 3.5 years. At that time, I didn't really see other avenues rather than taking the traditional path in architecture. So healthcare seemed like a really great compromise. I was able to really dive into the tectonics of architecture, really understand how architecture as a profession is run, understanding more of the business side, the tectonics in the construction documents, but I still felt something was missing. The firms that I worked for before lacked diversity, and that was something that I was really craving. Throughout school, I started Wentworth's chapter of the National Organization of Minority Architects, and I wanted to continue that and share that passion with others that I work with. I started to realize some challenges at different firms when it comes to diversity and equity, but I really wanted to integrate that into my practice. Luckily, in school, there was a professor, Danison Tavares, who saw the work that I was doing in school, saw the passion that I had for it, and opportunities, I guess, the opportunity that I had just I don't know, I felt very lucky in 2022 when I was searching for a new job. I was looking at different firms, but then Danison reached out to me to learn about Youth Build and the work that he does there. So in 2022, I started working at Youth Build, where I'm able to engage high school students in architecture, primarily high schoolers of color and low-income students in this field of architecture where they haven't been exposed to what this profession could look like before, not in their schools, a lot of their times not in their families. But Youth Build Boston has been around for over 30 years. The Designery is just one out of 3 programs that Youth Build provides to the city. The Designery, which is the experience that I run, focuses on introducing high school students to architecture and similar design professions. Our other 2 programs, our Building Trades Exploration Program and our Pre-Apprentice Program, bring high school students and graduates into the trades. So for our Building Trades Exploration Program, students who find it challenging to go through high school, they'll come to our program. We help them get their high school diploma, and they're able to explore the trades, get to learn construction skills, they get OSHA training. And then our pre-apprentice students are high school graduates who want to find alternative career paths rather than going to college. And they go through a 12 to 15 week program where they get on-site job experience, both on youth build projects and residential projects around the city. And they're able to get into the unions or non-union work around the city focused around construction. And a lot of their jobs are around carpentry, but we have students who are very interested in plumbing and electrician work. And we've had some students who were able to get into a general manager, general contractor position, and they're able to get mentorship through that, through those companies. But I think what I really loved about Youth Build before I came on was learning that we're just seeing how I think my passions and their mission align so much. I think overall the AEC Industries needs to do a lot of work to bring more equity into the field. I didn't necessarily see firms doing enough work to target high school, middle school demographics. The colleges didn't target high school, middle school demographics enough. I think from my experience, when I was trying to troubleshoot this issue while being at an architecture firm, they were trying to figure out, they're trying to get students from college. And I think through my research, through my experience, I saw that college isn't necessarily the beginning of these issues, of this lack of a pipeline. If students aren't being introduced to architecture and design professions in middle school and high school, they're not going to go into college wanting to get into a design profession. And I think a lot of the work that we do at the Designery is really breaking down a lot of the stereotypes of what a design profession is, where we get a lot of students who think that it is very singular, very like you only have one person working on a design, that you're not part of a team, and that it is, I don't know, not a career that they can have. But we teach them like fundamental design skills and prep them for a design career if they choose to go down that path. The demographics on this page is a big reason why the work we do is important. Right now, the majority of our students we serve are African American, Latino, identifying, but in the world of architecture, around 2% of registered architects identify as Black or African American, and less than 1% of registered architects identify as Black or African American female architects. 6%, around 6% Hispanic or Latino, 10% Asian. I think there needs to be a lot more work to expose students in underserved communities to work in design, because I don't know, being in this design profession where we literally see the impacts of architecture on a daily basis, we need to have a diverse group of people building up our infrastructure to get different understandings and different perspectives in the work that we do. This is our core team. Danison Tavares is our program and project development manager. He oversees projects and gets projects for all three of our programs, projects and different opportunities with both for-profit and nonprofit entities. And he brings over 10 years of experience in education and also professional practice. And I think I would say apart from this team, we have rotating lead designers. So our lead designers are typically current architecture design students or recent post-grad students who are looking to get into this type of work where they might have had a firm experience where I don't know, it wasn't what they were expecting, or they were looking for more of this community connection and community scale and driven architecture. And so we have this team of five, like 4 to 5 individuals mentoring students through after school programmings, boot camps, and a summer internship. So I've only been part of Youth Build Boston for about 1.5 years, but over 10 years, we've served almost 300 designery interns and after-school students, primarily serving people of color, and almost half of the students that we have served are women. And some of the demographics on this page kind of reflect back on a previous slide about the lack of diversity in the field of architecture. But also we've had conversations internally about like what the importance is of licensure. I think reflecting back on my experience in school, not everyone wanted to get licensed. I think becoming a licensed architect wasn't as big of a goal as it seemed in the past. I think because there are many different avenues that that college students can take in their career with an architecture background. I've had some students in my graduating class, or some peers in my graduating class, who already have their license. They went down the path. They want to see themselves grow in a firm, eventually becoming owners of their own practices or owners of the firms that they work for. But I've also had peers who went into construction, who went into digital fabrication. We've had Wentworth graduates who ended up doing graphic design. We even had a Wentworth graduate who started their own restaurant. And I think there's a lot of applicable skills in architecture that is transferable to other careers. A lot of like critical thinking, problem solving, iteration, the ability to collaborate. And I think that that's one of our biggest sells to our students, is that we're not teaching them, well, they get exposed to architecture as the profession. But I believe that there's architecture, the profession, but also architecture as a way of thinking and being very critical about our environment to make, being very critical about our environment to be able to make, how would I phrase this? Let's see. Yeah, I view architecture as a way of thinking where we're able to make educational and critical observations of our neighborhoods and learn how to work together, find resources to make meaningful change in our neighborhoods, and for our students to understand that they have a voice in the future of the infrastructure that they have around them. Now, I would say since our current team is formed in 2022, we've been thinking about how the designery fits into the architectural pipeline. We primarily serve Boston high school students between the ages of 14 and 18. As much as I love the work we do, it takes more than one organization to create the change that we're looking for. And I've valued all of the meaningful connections we've made throughout the past year and a half with other nonprofits, other schools, firms, and different entities who want to see the field of design become more diverse. One of the major minority architecture organizations in Boston is called NOMA, the National Organization of Minority Architects. We have a Boston professional chapter, and every summer they hold a event or a week-long training called Project Pipeline, where they're bringing middle schoolers into the world of architecture, learning some fundamental skills, going through like hands-on design exercises. And I think that, I don't know, sparked something in our team where we, it really allowed us to start to think about our program being part of this larger pipeline. Like, okay, we have an organization that focuses on middle schoolers. Youth Build Boston focuses on high schoolers. What are some other organizations that are doing similar work? And how can we work together collectively to create this pipeline where students in and around Boston are able to get an architectural experience or get exposed to architecture from middle school through high school and continue to get mentorship and training throughout their experience in college and post-grad into their profession. I don't know, there's so much great energy in Boston, but I feel like a lot of this energy exists in silos, where I feel like not enough people know about Youth Build. More people should know about the work that NOMA is doing in Boston. We've partnered a lot with the Sasaki Foundation in our city, and the Sasaki Foundation is doing amazing work bringing students into the world of architecture, especially with their connection to Sasaki, the firm. They're able to give their students a really great experience where they're constantly engaging with design professionals. They have a fabrication facility. So I hope in my vision of the future of the designery, future of Youth Build Boston, that we continue to see how we fit into this pipeline and really start to create, start to be more collective about our curriculum, about our involvement into bringing students into these fields, because it's really important to be able to collaborate, kind of bring some walls down so that we can tackle the same issue together. In the past, our after-school programming was a bit different. Right now, our after-school programming is 5 weeks, 2 days a week. Before I came on, the after-school program was a 12-week long commitment, where students were at the designery 4 days a week, 2 hours each day from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Through my time here, we've gotten some really good critical feedback from our students, and I think one of the biggest takeaways is that they love what they're learning. They love this exposure to a field and profession that they haven't been exposed to before, but trying to balance their commitment to the designery and their 6 to 7 classes at school with tests, assignments, other extracurriculars is very challenging. So we've decided to be more critical about how we teach architecture to our students. And we've created this model that goes from level 0 to level 3. And I'll dive into a bit of our programs. Level 0 is what we call our like bootcamp level design experience. These are going to be 1-day boot camps, either in our facilities at 1884 Washington Street or at different institutions where we're able to give high school students this 1-day experience and exposure to architecture. And I really like this model because it is for students who are just trying to explore different career paths, explore new things. This is very, I would say, non-committal. So for students who go through the 1-day boot camp, decide that architecture isn't their thing, they're not committed to this 5 to like 12-week experience. They're able to just dip their toes in the water, see if this is something that they like. But it also gives exposure to the designery where if we find students excelling at this 1-day boot camp and they're very interested in the design, this can be a direct pipeline into our program or other architecture programs around the city. Our level 1 programs are targeted towards 9th and 10th graders, where it's an introduction to architecture. In level 1, they learn fundamental design skills like sketching, technical drawing, physical and digital model making, learning how to collaborate as a team. I've noticed that we've had to really focus a lot on learning how to collaborate because a lot of our students went through school during the pandemic. They didn't have a lot of exposure to collaboration. This past summer, we had one of our interns actually say to us that she presented in front of people more at the designery than she's ever had in high school. And I think she's going into her senior year. So there's a lot of exposure to this like level of collaboration and critique. I think critique is the biggest hurdle, but once students are comfortable being able to critique each other, critique their own work, receive constructive criticism on their designs and iterations, that is something that they're able to transfer in school, where they're learning that when they receive criticism, it's not good professors, good mentors aren't trying to attack them. But there's this level of like understanding that their work is beyond them, that we're doing work to serve our community, to serve clients, and that there's beauty in to be able to have that back and forth conversation when we're having reviews, to be able to excel their designs and excel their design skills. Our level 2 builds off of level 1, and this level is geared towards 11th and 12th graders in high school. Our hope is that students who enjoy architecture in our level 1 and perform well will get automatically accepted into our level 2 programming. And this one will expose them to how architecture intersects with other professions. So how architects work with engineers, how construction documents are used by construction workers to construct a building. And this one has a much larger focus on research, where they're really utilizing their research every week to hone in on their designs that they're working on, and then being able to present and celebrate their work at the end of the program. Level 3 is our most intensive program. It is a 6-week-long summer internship where they're with us 25 hours a week. With this extra time, we're really able to dive into different research techniques. We usually have either a community partner or work with an organization that has a design need. And our students will use their skills that they've learned in level 1, level 2, to start to like they start to spend more time like with iteration, ideation in their design projects. We're starting to introduce digital fabrication into our curriculum. We had several 3D printers donated to us by Wentworth. And we're really able to spend the time teaching them SketchUp, other digital tools, and showing them how showing them that digital tools aren't a replacement for physical making or sketching, hand drawing, but it just builds upon their toolbox that they've been creating through the programs at the designery. Because we have all this extra time and it's the summer, we have warm weather, we're able to bring our students to other parts of Boston, explore architecture, explore several of the museums we have in the city. And it's our opportunity to bring even more professionals and designers into our space to engage our students in their work. Traditionally, we've only brought in many architects and interior designers to come talk to our students, but we've enjoyed exposing them to other design fields like or design or architecture related professions like graphic design, historical preservation, community activism, and it really starts to build up this narrative of the intersections of architecture with other community-oriented professions and missions around the city. Yeah, I've learned through our students that a lot of them don't leave their neighborhoods. Like a lot of our students haven't left their neighborhoods. So being able to have these tours, lectures exposes them to other walks of life, exposes them to other parts of the city that they wouldn't have gone to if it weren't for the designery. We're able to go on. I think we're lucky that we have easy access to the Museum of Fine Arts, the Institute of Contemporary Arts in the Seaport District, and we're very close to several architecture colleges where they have easy access to Wentworth, the Boston Architectural College, Mass Art, Northeastern's architecture program. So we're really able to create these partnerships with these higher ed and cultural organizations and find ways to collaborate them and engage students in the work that they do. I won't dive too much into this slide, but this is a breakdown of how we've decided to do programming for 2024. We're going to start with so every cohort has 10 students. We're going to start with a cohort in January 22nd. That's going to be Monday and Wednesday. But then starting in March, we're going to have 2 cohorts running concurrently, where we'll have a Monday, Wednesday cohort and a Tuesday, Thursday. For our summer program, 5 to 6 weeks will be spent at the designery, and the last week will be spent at an architecture firm. So this past summer was the first time we collaborated with an architecture firm for an externship. We collaborated with a firm called Embark, which is located in our SOA district. SOA stands for South of Washington. And it's an opportunity for our students to really be exposed to design professionals every day, see how a firm runs. And I think this first experience with Embark was so transformational for the students who were able to participate. So designery staff will accompany the students to the firm, and Embark allowed our students to be exposed to not only the designers in the firm, but the business people, learning that firms need people who know how to sell projects, how to create relationships with clients. A firm needs people who know finance to run the firm. They need people who understand marketing and development. And I really enjoyed that exposure because it shows our students that even if they don't want to be designers, there's so many design adjacent careers that they could go to, or design or other careers that can lead them into an architecture firm. I found that their financial director, marketing manager, development people all loved design, all loved the way architects and other designers think. And it really created this beautiful firm atmosphere that really translated into the excitement that the students had. And to really engage the students in the firm's work, the firm asked our students to go through some landscaping exercises for an ongoing project. So it was really nice to be able to engage the students in some of their own design work and present their models, present their sketches at the end, and have this celebration. I think the members at the firm were really impressed with the quality of work our students were able to produce. And it shows that high schoolers really do have a lot to give back to design. We really emphasize giving our students agency and a voice in the work that they do. And I think having this first externship showed that that this model really works. These are just some images of how we've engaged our students in the past, where there's a variety of different types of projects, different scales of architecture. The top left and the image right below it were some initial stencil work that we did for the Dorchester Food Co-op, where we were able to show our students that you can translate like physical architecture skill, like three-dimensional making into two-dimensional graphics, where the Dorchester Food Co-op tasked our students to design the mural that would go inside the grocery store. So that one was very research oriented, where our students were looking at the different demographics of members of Dorchester, looking at the different ethnicities and cultures that were represented, and the staple foods represented by those demographics. And several of the other images on this slide just show the importance of research, collaboration, sketching, the act of physical making. The top right photo shows our students who accompanied us at that firm externship. And being able to bring them on site tours, having them go through design competitions. I think the bottom images really show our importance of collaboration, where we're in this one space together, everyone's learning, facing challenges together, and it really, we really try to create this atmosphere where students help each other, like mentors help the students, and if a student sees another one struggling, we'll all come together to help each other out and lift each other up through their experience with the designery. I say apart from just exposure to architecture, we're also thinking about placement. For students who have already participated in the designery programs, we try to direct them to other architecture programs while they're in high school, helping them with architecture education through college. We'll help them with portfolio work. If they need help finding scholarships or grants, we're always connected to our students. Whether they've been with Youth Build for 1 day or 7 weeks, we always try to emphasize to our participants that the Designery and Youth Build Boston are always a resource to them. And also, the other type of placements are these week-long internships after our summer program. But some of the main challenges for placements is like each firm has a different way of practice. Some firms emphasize, or some firms just practice Digitally, some firms still use model making as part of their design pedagogy. Some really enjoy sketching on trace. Through our programming, it's really important to teach our students all of these fundamental skills if they do decide to go to other programs or as they start to make their portfolio to pursue post-secondary education. We wouldn't have been able to do all the work that we've done without key partnerships. And these partnerships are combinations of things. Some partnerships are for community design opportunities. Some are for mentorship support and supportive roles for our students, directly engaging with them either at our space or at their firm, and having our partners create more youth advancement opportunities. So these are just a list of the partners who have contributed to the Designery's success over the past year. And these are some other ways they've gotten involved, where some firms have hosted a design charrette. We get volunteers to help with our conversation series, firm visits, donations, supplies. Donating supplies so that our students have access to different tools, different materials that they use to model make both digitally and physically. But as we continue to, I say, evolve our programming, we're really looking to incorporate digital equity into our practice, into our programs and education. This image just shows our vision for the Designery, where in space number 1, we're trying to incorporate a digital fabrication lab in our space, giving students access to our 3D printers and hopefully being able to get a laser cutter so that we can start to train our students with these tools and teach them how to integrate that into their design process. Space number 3 will be our digital space where all of our like model making, sketching, and iteration happens. And 2 is a very important space that we're hoping to have, where we're able to bring in members from the community to showcase their work and really treat this space as a rotating gallery, not only for the overarching community, but for our students as well. Before this renovation happens, we're planning on having a Stull and Lee exhibition in our space. Stull and Lee was one of the first African-American owned architecture firms in Boston. And just having all of that work, all of that history at the Designery allows us to integrate that history and mission into our work to teach our students the history of prejudice in our city, but also the work that can be done to overcome historical prejudice and racism in the context of our neighborhoods. I'll say that is a summary of the work we've done in the past year and a half, our goals and missions for what the Designery can be in the future to serve the students of Boston. If anyone is interested, please feel free to contact Dennison or myself. We always love to find opportunities for individuals to visit our space or learn about the programming that we do. But thank you for this time.